now cross back to Nigeria, where uncertainty and controversy now surrounds government's plan to withdraw the subsidy on refined petroleum products. The November 1 takeoff date that was announced earlier has now been shifted to next year. With just 2 weeks to the initial takeoff date, oil markers had begun hoarding their stock of products in anticipation of an increase in price, which would have boosted their profits. To take a closer look at the issue of deregulation and the effects of moving the date, we are joined from Lagos by Ikechukwu Iheanacho of Stanbic IBTC Bank. Ike, thank you very much for joining us. We had a countdown, as I mentioned in the intro, of November 1. However, that date has been shifted. Why?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. The shift, we believe, is primarily due to one reality which we had pointed out, that the whole ground has not been fully set for the commencement of a deregulation currently. Because while it was tagged deregulation, we noted that the best that could have been done was for the subsidies to be removed from the petroleum prices, which in turn would mean that the prices will be ranging around 94 naira. But nevertheless, that the margins that the petroleum marketers are earning are still going to be fixed to some extent. So this in turn would not even have been a full deregulation per se. But however, we have seen that the government has opted to shift the date of deregulation forward in line with our speculation.
However, Ike, as I understand, the postponement comes after a meeting on the matter between Labour and government representatives in Abuja. Did government bow to pressure? Well,
the government has not bowed, in my opinion also, and even on the Labour part, what we have, again, I say this is on market news, because that's what we have on ground right now. And the market news says that there's still been no concrete agreement between Labour and the government. But government has just probably deferred will I call it the date of the appointed deregulation due to the fact that there's no concrete structure on ground for Labour and government to have one agreement.
Does then the Nigerian government have the political will to see this policy through?
Come again, please.
Does then the Nigerian government have the political will to implement this bill even at a later stage, which is next year as we're looking at it now?
Yes, the Nigerian government has the will, the political and otherwise, to implement this deregulation policy. But the fact of the matter right now is that what we have on ground is not quite, will I say, sufficient for a full deregulation to take place. So it has just been delayed.
Ike, I hear that. However, the biggest opposition to this policy came from the Labour unions. And their argument was that government needs to commit, amongst other things, to repairing and expanding the capacity of the NNPC refineries. Has government given that commitment?
Government has given that commitment, and as a matter of fact, the government has even claimed, that the NNPC, its arm, the Petroleum Products Marketing Company, has claimed that it has sufficient arrangements with depot owners, with pipeline managers across the country, and they claim that they have been ready, even for over a month back. They claim that they have been ready for the takeoff of this deregulation, and giving us an assurance that there's not going to be any fuel scarcity due to the implementation of the deregulation. But nevertheless, those claims by the government are still not fully trusted by the Labour parties.
There seems to be a lot of mistrust. However, oil marketers had begun buying up stock of products in anticipation of an increase in price. Now, what is this whole incident doing to the petroleum price in the Nigerian industry, in the Nigerian market?
Come again, you said the petroleum price?
What impact has this postponement had on the petroleum prices?
Well, for now, the petroleum prices are still regulated, primarily of the premium motor spirits and the kerosene, which have always been regulated. So they are still fixed at 65 naira and 50 naira respectively. So we were believing that, following the commencement of the deregulation, they will be up to their market prices, which will lie about 94 naira for premium motor spirits. But given the postponement of this deregulation, we still see the price of premium motor spirits lying at 65 naira towards the end of the year.
Now, Labour and Productivity Minister Adetukonbo Kayodore has been quoted as saying Nigerians must be patient because policies take time to mature. Are we likely to see government issuing a date anytime soon?
I would not be able to give a concrete note on behalf of the government regarding when the new deregulation date is likely to come about, because we still see on ground that the main disagreement or the main point of contention between the labor groups and the government has not fully been addressed, because the way the whole thing is on ground right now, and there's still going to be a lot of at least short-term difficulties faced by the masses who the labor groups are trying to protect. Even if, let's say, by January, there's a deregulation of the petroleum products, there's still going to be that hardship, and pushing it from one day to the other does not quite address the problem, but rather it's actually tackling the difficulties that they are likely to face.